there ceases to be an arc, well, that's actually a secondary issue. It's like either there is an arc and the arc is unnecessary. Yeah, right, because you don't have any more material for them to interact. It's like like imagine getting in like a real life relationship. You know, it's like you're courting this girl, right? And then you get together, and then suddenly it's all boring. It's like does it work like that in real life? No, it freaking does not work like that in real life, right? It so does not work like that in real life. Like that would be sad, right? Like at that point, like you know, mission, like abort the mission. Like mission failed, right? Find someone else. This is not how it works. So you know, it baffles me. Like you know, I would say that I'm baffled why writers, why people find it difficult to have this right. It's like have them talk, right? Like for a lot of romantic relationships, fictional romantic relationships are very shallow. And maybe shallow isn't even like a criticism. It's more like, okay, maybe you have two shallow individuals. It's like, but like, what do they talk about that's actually interesting, right? It's like, have them be their own individuals. Have them be like active characters, right? Have them advance the plot, right? Like, have them advance the plot, right? You want to do that first and foremost. Don't put the female character on the back burner. And like, if you want to kill her off and like get a new romantic interest, like say, like, sure, you know, keep the story interesting. It's like I understand if you want to get rid of the love interest, you know, and find a new one. Like yeah, fair enough, right? But like if you want to keep them like genuinely, right? I think in a lot of cases maybe it's more valuable and more human, you know, to keep around the person that you were with since like season one. But again, you know, like people don't know how to keep them. They don't know how to keep them there until season like 4, right? They don't know. Writers don't know how to write committed relationships. Yeah, otherwise they just cut them or they turn out very boring, right? So like have them talk like real people, right? I think Quentin Tarantino is really good at this, really having two characters talk like normal people, right? He's not particularly with romantic. He's not particularly known for his romantic characters, right? Like he does something entirely different, but like you know, like a guy like Quentin Tarantino, he would be very much capable of this, right? Like he knows how to have two characters talk in such a way that not only is it interesting, but it also actually serves the plot, right? It's like have these characters defined and then have them talk to each other, and like usually it's like okay, like don't have them talk about the freaking plot, like don't have them be so blatant. It's like okay, they're not really talking about anything personal, right? They're just, you know, hugging, kissing each other, and they're talking about the freaking plot. Like what the hell? Like dude, this is not good, right? This is boring. Like I see what you're doing. They're not really hanging out. They're talking about work, right? They're not really, nothing's really going on here. This is like boring, right? It's like have them defined, have them be actually defined human beings, man. Like just like if you've ever been I just thought maybe it's very difficult for a lot of writers to write actual relationships because they've probably never been in one. maybe they've never been in one. I mean, to be fair, right? Like that may be half the issue. That may be half the issue. It's like this guy has never been in a relationship. It's like either you're not a good writer or you've just never had that experience, right? Like because like you know, when you're writing a story, you want to draw from real life. It's like so like if you had been in a relationship, right? It's like, you know, I can't exactly speak to be like a freaking relationship expert, right? Like, right? Hey, all right, I look, right? Yeah, look, hey, I'm not even right. I'm not even gonna expose myself, right? But yeah. It's like you draw from real life. You want to draw from real life. It was like the best stories are the ones which it's like a person sees it and they recognize it's like, huh, they must have gotten that from somewhere that was real, right? It's like that detail right there. It's like that is so That's a very delicious detail there, man. That's actually what happens, man. Right? It's like you draw from real life, right? You draw from the intrinsically human, and then you put it in the art. It's like if you've been in a relationship and like you're in a good relationship, but like it should not be all that difficult to contemplate on what makes that work, and then you add it into the story. It's like either you're not a particularly good writer, like, which is fine. All men are not created equal, but yeah, which is fine, which is fine, but it's like it's either that or you're you have no experience. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like, but like, yeah, right, like, so like just have these two characters, fully fledged, right? Like, don't give up just because now the romance is over, like the best part is over. Like, don't give up. Like, if you want to write something genuine, you have it's not like it's impossible. It's not impossible. Like, it is certainly not impossible. I think a lot of writers feel that it is something that is impossible. But like the way you do it is exactly how you've been doing it all along. It's like the way you make an interesting character dynamic between two characters. It's like, imagine like Sherlock Holmes and his guy, Sherlock Holmes and the guy. What's his guy? What's Watson? Yeah, like Watson and Sherlock Holmes. Like, do you ever get tired of watching Watson and Sherlock Holmes? It's like I've seen stories where it's been made to work, except it's not in the context of lovers, right? Like, the thing that makes Holmes and Watson work is the very thing that would make work that would work for two love interests, right? Like two characters in love. Like, it's the very exact thing. It's like, do these characters have good dynamics? It's like they don't have to be hugging and kissing on each other all the time. Like, that's just like, it's like, all right, it's like you don't gotta have that. Like, are these characters, do they have? It's like, what made them great before they got together? Like, what was so great about them? It's like I understand some people may say that, okay, Toka got character development, right? She was like a super edgy girl, that was making Kaneki eat shit, and then she was like nicer, right? It's like Toka was far more exciting when she needed character development, right? It's like that's these facts, right? Like, she was way more exciting. Post the time skip Kaneki, it's like she's like a beautiful girl. She got she got an upgrade. She got an upgrade in the front there, right? She got an upgrade, but like she didn't do anything. She just kept quiet and smiled and looked pretty. It's like, dude, where is the old Toka who was like brash and like spunky and everything? Like, she was so cool, right? She wasn't she wasn't entirely ratchet, or like she had like a human side where like she considered her human friends, right? It's like she wasn't all bad, even though she needed character development, right? Like, have the same Toka, have the same interesting character as they were before the character development, right? It's like, imagine like when you develop as a human being, it's like you don't do a complete 180 and become someone else. It just doesn't work like that, right? Like, character development does not mean now I will mute what made my personality intrinsically charming. Not now I will mute my charisma stats, and be more placating. It's like, no, dude. It's like, right? Like, just have them be as they were before, right? The issue is that maybe you didn't quite define what they needed to develop from, right? But like, they don't need to lose their entire personality, the thing that made them charming, right? The thing that made them like a good match for that male character, right? It's like how do they play off of each other, right? Like, think of it like, don't think of it as it's not, you should not like to think of it as something like, they can do no wrong with each other, right? They don't banter. Like, it's like, dude, of course they banter, like, right? Like, they get mad at each other over like petty things. Like, that's what happens in real life. right? Have it like that. So in summary, have them have character arcs of their own. It's like for as long as your main character keeps developing, for as long as there's things the main character must overcome, let that be the same thing for the female character. Have them not write them in such a way that they can stand on their own. See them as an actual person, right? Pretend, right? Like everyone else, like with every other character you have, right? It's like see them as fully fledged from the moment that you conceptualize them, right? See them as such, right? It's like if the male character has an arc to get through, so does the female, and all the better if they can go through that arc together, and they can still play off each other, like Logan and Deadpool, right? Look, I don't know, I didn't watch it, but maybe I watched a video that something like that, right? Sherlock Holmes and Watson, right? There's this anime that I watched. This old anime. It's so good. What is it called? Bakano. Oh, Bakano, dude. There's these two characters. Like a husband and a wife, right? Like they're married in the very beginning. What an impressive show, bro. It's so good. Bro, like they're married in the very first episode, right? And like they just every time you see them on screen, they're so fun. Right, they don't do any kissing or whatever. Like they don't do any of that. Like not that that's bad, right? But like they don't even need that. Like they don't need that fan service. It's like every time you see them together, they're just magical. They're freaking magic, dude. Like they're so good. Like their dynamics were insane. They were so insane. Like they were like mysterious, right? But like they just played off of each other so good. It's like they didn't have to be husband and wife, but like it just so happened to be that they were. Right, so like you don't have to think about it as like, okay, these two characters are lovers, right? Like they can do no wrong with each other. They're gonna be loving on each other all the time. But like they don't even have to argue. Like they can just have like a genuinely healthy relationship all throughout. And like an example of that is you can see within that show, Bakano. That show is so freaking insane, right? It's so good. I should probably rewatch it. I should probably rewatch it sometime soon.